Other than the gift of Jesus, I think giving your children the gift and the ability to use their voice as they're growing and learning is one of the best gifts we can give to our children as parents and caregivers. And I'm going to explain to you why. When we have kids, a lot of the old school way was to teach children to be seen and not heard, and to really not have an opinion on anything. But I think as time has progressed, we've come to learn that that ill-equips children for adulthood. We've come into a season of adults who have a hard time expressing their needs. They have a hard time expressing their thoughts, their desires, communicating, all of those types of things. So I believe that it is so important in childhood for us to give our kids the ability in a healthy, safe environment to use their voice. This does not mean we allow our children to rebel or talk back or speak to us any kind of way. There are parameters that we set in place around how our children communicate with us as parents, but we do leave room for us to hear what they're thinking. We leave room to hear what's going on in their hearts when we create an environment that has enough room to hear their thoughts, their opinions, and their little voices. So here are my 3 reasons why I believe it's so important to give your child the gift of their voice. Number 1, it creates agency. It gives them ownership of who they are and what they believe. And I believe it's super important as you're raising your child to know what they believe, because believe me, they will have beliefs that may not necessarily be your beliefs as they grow and as they watch the world around them. And the best way to understand and know what they have on the inside is by talking to them and hearing their opinions. Now, with this comes the practice of teaching them tone. There comes the practice of being open to them saying things that maybe you don't necessarily agree with, but leaving enough space and enough communication for them to be able to voice it without you reacting. You give your kids a response, not a reaction to their thoughts. Number 2, it gives your kids courage and confidence in the world that they have to deal with when you're not around. A lot of times, if children are not given an opportunity to have a voice, when they are then faced with their peer group, they don't have the ability to say no. If you want to raise strong children who feel confident in saying no when it's necessary, not feeling like they have to go along with what their peers are doing, then give them the ability to use their voice in your home. Give them the ability to practice what sometimes it looks a little bumpy when we all first start practicing, what that looks like, but it's okay. That's growth. That's a part of journeying through relationship with people. This actually teaches your children what healthy relationships look like. It means sometimes you have to talk about the hard things. Not every conversation is an easy conversation in a healthy relationship, but that's where growth occurs. That's where the relationship gets better, when we're able to have these conversations. And the third thing it does is it makes your child a healthy communicator. When your kids don't feel like they have to stuff everything on the inside and bottle up their feelings, and I'm not able to express how I feel, which typically comes out in other ways anyways, other ways that they will cope if they can't get out how they're feeling, then you'll have a problem, really. So instead, you want to build bridges towards healthy communication with your children. You want them to be able to, again, to express to you how they're feeling. Now, in order for this to happen, we have to model these things for our kids. We can't, again, just expect that our children are going to know how to do these things. And if this is something that you're rusty in yourself, then it's going to perhaps take you taking some time to sit down and get curious about why you may do some of the things you do, why you may think the way you think, and why you may react the way you react. So my challenge to you is to create space in your home where your children are able to use their voice so that when they grow up, they become adults who have agency, courage and confidence, and healthy communication with their peers.